you can do it from anywhere in the world with an inexpensive laptop and an internet connection. You can just give someone a limited power of attorney. You get a virtual mailbox. You can do it, but I don't teach any other land acquisition strategies other than U.S. And really, as far as government risk, like, yeah, there's deals in Costa Rica. I don't know. You can do deals in Mexico. It's just, there's just more risk.
I ask that just because I do get people all the time like, oh, what do you think about investing in Canada? And what do you think about investing in Mexico? And, and I'm always thinking, I'm like, is there something wrong with investing in the States? Like, is there some reason? Like, did you take a vacation down there and you're just like, oh, this is way better? It's because you were on vacation. I don't mean to bring the truth of the reality to you, but, so there's got to be some bad things about this. Like, what's the dirty, nasty stuff that, that you're leaving out here? Like, what is it that sucks about this business?
Yeah. I mean, I think when people come in, they think it's going to be easy, and nothing worth doing is easy. It's a simple model, but there's a lot of moving parts. And so I think what happens is if you don't come in with beginner's mind and you hit that first roadblock or you hit that first brick wall, people get frustrated. And they're like, wait, this person's doing it. This person's like, maybe it's not for me. And, there's that great Zig Ziglar quote: if you'll do for the next 3 to 5 years what other people won't do, you'll be able to do for the rest of your life what other people can't do. And it's not 3 to 5 months, it's 3 to 5 years. So I think, that's sort of like the things, like someone listened to me on the podcast, like, oh, Mark makes it sound so easy. It's not easy. This isn't get rich quick. This is get wealthy slow. And so if your mindset is, hey, if I don't do a deal in 3 months, this thing doesn't work, then yeah, it's not going to work. But, so I would say that's the first issue is, do you have grit? The second one is an environmental issue. So, we recommend people buy in the Southwest, the Northwest, a little bit in the Midwest, and Florida. So we avoid industrial areas, Ohio or Pennsylvania, New York, those areas. Now you'd go to a website called EPA.gov and you'd look for Superfund sites. So you just want to make sure you're not buying into Superfund site because then you're responsible for what could be potentially millions of dollars of cleanup on that. So I would say those are the two biggest risks.
And like, what does it cost to get into this game? I mean, I guess, is there marketing? Like, do you have like a set budget someone should anticipate before entering this business?
Yeah, I did a podcast on this. We kind of all agreed like $500 is the minimum. You can do a deal for $500.
So that's everybody. That's everybody.
Yeah. I think that it's easier if you got $5,000, but you could definitely get started with 500.
Wow. Well, I mean, whether it's 500 or 5,000, I mean, if someone was looking to get in to make 300 to 1,000% return, that doesn't seem like a high barrier of expense to enter this world. And the only expectation they need to have is that it's get wealthy slow. It's going to take a couple of years to build it up, but doesn't mean that, those testimonies you were reading doesn't mean that, they're not going to make money along those ways. It's not like they're going to wait 2-3 years and make nothing. And then all of a sudden it just flips on. They're building up, right?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it just depends on them. And, sometimes it's just learning curve. Some people get it faster than others. Others, it takes a little bit longer, but on a long enough time scale in this model, everyone gets paid. Everyone gets paid.
And out of all the deals you've done, like, what would you say the percentage of them that go to the neighbors? I mean, do you think that's like, you mentioned that's like the easiest?
Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest. I would say it depends on the market. For our business, it's probably 15% are going to the neighbors.
Pretty good. Yeah. And, like let's say somebody gets into a land deal, they put it under contract. Can they get out of it?
So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. So when you're doing due diligence, you've locked up that parcel, but then you have an out with our contract.
Do you ever like start getting gauging interest of the neighbors in that when it's under contract?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can start gauging interest in lots of different ways. just to test the market, in fact.
I'm just thinking, just, if it's 15% or so, somewhere around there, and you just put a bunch of property under contract and you immediately have a process or VAs that will go out and hit all the neighbors. If it's 15%, I mean, you could probably do some damage within that due diligence period. And any of them that don't work, you're just like, all right, well, maybe I'm just not going to continue forward with this. I'm not saying that's a good business model. And I would be pretty pissed if I was the person on the other end of that contract. But just saying, I mean, like if you're playing the math, I mean, you could play the law of numbers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think one of the benefits is you want to be able to close quickly. So it takes about a day to do due diligence. And then we want to say, hey, we'll close in 7 days because, certainly, you don't want someone else to get to bid over you in this, and then you lose a deal because of speed.
Yeah. I mean, the thing you got to understand is I'm in New York and I can't even fathom any deal, including a land deal, closing in 7 days. We're an attorney state here and nothing happens quickly. So the states you're talking about, most of them are title states, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because it's land, there's less moving parts with it. Now, here's another question I got thinking of. Let's say, some of those students you were mentioning that bought the land and then they did a finance deal. Let's just say the person they did the finance deal with just stops making payments. Then what?
So we use a land contract and not a deed of trust. So in a land contract, the asset remains in your ownership until that borrower has paid off their promissory note. And so if they default, they've got 30 days to cure their default. And within 30 days, if they don't cure their default, you keep their down payment, you keep their monthly payments. You've lowered your cost now. So now your cost basis is even lower. You resell it again and you extend out your return on investment with no costs of foreclosure.
Wow. So land contract is the way to go. That almost sounds like, I'm not even going to say it. That just sounds too easy right there. But I guess it would be, I mean, since you never give up ownership, then all of a sudden, like, it's just not hard to take it back. Isn't there like a lot of landlords that will do land contracts when they sell the land to like a Burger King or, a big fast food restaurant? Like I've heard of that before.
I'm not sure about that model. I mean, I know, there's that triple net model with those types of tenants, but I don't think I think that would be more of a deed of trust when you're talking about that kind of big money.
It could be. And it's completely off the beaten path, but I know I've heard land contract mentioned, in those type of scenarios. And I think it was a Tim Hortons. But anyway, get back on topic. So like if somebody did want to learn, like what would they do? What would be their first steps? Is there videos they'd watch or, how
I mean, I can give you a link to my free book and, it's free plus shipping. They got to pay for the shipping, but that's a good place to start is Dirt Rich. There's also the landgeek.com, and we have tons of free training there as well. The Art of Passive Income podcast. Once a week, we do a roundtable podcast where we talk about a pain point in the land business. So there's lots of ways to dip your toe in the water and see if this model resonates with you.
Sounds so, I mean, it does. Like, I know you heard this before, but it does. It sounds pretty simple. I know there's some moving parts, but once you learn the due diligence, once you learn how to go out and source the properties and do that, it just seems like you had mentioned, you could put this thing on autopilot pretty darn easily. And that's one of the things that's really attractive about it. There's a lot of businesses that are not easy to put on autopilot, but this one does seem like you could just teach. Well, I don't want to say teach a monkey, but you could teach anybody to pretty much do these things. And you're just driving the ship from wherever you are, even if you're on a ship.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I love it. So folks, we're going to put that up in the description. We're going to put the two links there, one to the book, free plus shipping, and then the landgeek.com website. So you can check it out. How many students do you have right now?
I don't really know.
That's a good problem.
Yeah, but we have quite a few. We've got quite a few.
Well, hopefully, folks, some of you will also become students and learn how to do this and learn how to get out of the rat race of your job. If you don't want to have a job, you can create your own business and then turn your business into a business that actually works for you. So you're not working for it. I love this idea, Mark. I do. So we'll put that up. But any parting words that you want to say to the audience that you think would help them?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that this is really the best passive income model. You got a one-time sale, you get recurring income every single month. You don't have to deal with any of the traditional headaches. And when you think about it, this asset is literally the only thing that lasts.